There's a huge problem with Welsh politics at the moment. And that problem isn't just in Welsh politics. It's not just in the Welsh Assembly. It's in Welsh institutions, and it's in the middle class, top tier society in Wales itself. You see, there's a campaign at this very moment, and it's called Yes Cymru. Yes Cymru want independence for Wales, but that's not truly what they want. You see, Yes Cymru's ultimate goal is to rejoin the European Union. And they're doing this under the guise of campaigning for Welsh independence from the United Kingdom. And I think it's completely telling on the lack of respect they have for their own people that they won't tell them the truth. Yes, I admit I have made videos in the past where I have said some bad things about my country, but I have never targeted Wales as a whole, nor her people. My problem is with these snooty Welsh nationalists and the anti-British and anti-English bigots who currently infest Welsh society. These people hold such disdain for their own people, for us, that they recently spent £51,000 of taxpayers' cash to investigate and come up with the conclusion that the Welsh language is racist and harbours sentiments of white supremacy. And as a Welsh-born Welsh speaker now living in England, I can't simply just look on in disdain and do nothing. Hence, that's why I've come up with these t-shirts to counter the Yes Cymru campaign, and I'll continue to make videos on YouTube speaking out against them. Because unlike the fools currently in the Welsh Assembly, I believe my voice counts. And I believe my opinion matters. And there are many, many people like me, like-minded, who, as much as we love Wales, the people, the language, the culture, the country, the countryside, everything about it, we don't want her to leave the United Kingdom. We certainly don't want her back in the hands of the undemocratic bureaucrats in Brussels, the European Union. I mean, when was the last time the Welsh Assembly ever held a referendum to ask their own people what they wanted in their own society? Well, they never have, and guess what? They never will. And that's because the political class, the Welsh Assembly, the top tier of Welsh society and her institutions are all infested with undemocratic socialists like Plaid Cymru plank Leanne Wood, a woman who calls everyone and everything who disagrees with her a Nazi. And people like her want to control Welsh society. They don't want to give Welsh society a say on what goes on in their own country and the country's future. And like I've said before, Marxists never give up power. Marxists always want to exercise control over their people. And speaking of like-minded people, the Voice of Wales lads, Dan and Stan, they're still going strong, they're still reporting on the truth around Britain. They were eventually kicked off all platforms, including YouTube, after the BBC made a massive hit job on them and lied. But you can still follow the Voice of Wales because they have their own website now, and the link for that is down below. And the Voice of Wales team, they also love Wales, they love Britain. They like the fact that Wales is part of the United Kingdom, and we're far better together than chained together under the rule of the dictatorial and draconian European Union in Brussels. So they've come up with this petition, and this petition is reference to the incoming influx of unvetted Afghan refugees. Now, the left-wing lunatics out there will tell you that people like myself and the Voice of Wales are racist and we are completely against immigration. That is completely untrue. It is my personal belief, after all, that immigration is good for all countries. And the type of immigrants we need are genuine refugees and people who are useful to our society. Doctors, nurses, engineers and so on, regardless of their gender or skin colour. That doesn't come into it one bit. As long as people integrate and contribute to our society, that's not a problem. So how the hell could that be racist? So recently, the First Minister of Wales, Mark Drakeford, tweeted, "We want Wales to be a nation of sanctuary and we'll do everything we can to support evacuations from Afghanistan." Now, that is a very noble gesture, but there's just one thing. Out-of-touch politicians like Mark Drakeford, Leanne Plankwood and the rest of them, they want thousands, if not millions, of unvetted refugees to go into Wales. And it's no big secret that the ISIS terrorist group, or is it ISIS-K, they've already made a statement saying that they will put their own terrorist members into groups fleeing Afghanistan in order to commit terrorist attacks. So of course, when you take in an influx, a massive influx of immigrants unvetted, this can cause a deadly problem. And it's not just the potential for a deadly terrorist attack that is a problem. Can you imagine the effect of a mass migration of people from another culture and the detrimental effect it could have on a small country like Wales? Wales with a small population, a dwindling language and a culture that's slowly but surely disappearing. And remember, the Welsh politicians are already complaining to Westminster that they don't get enough money from them, from the British taxpayer, to help with their own economy. So how on earth are they going to afford an extra couple of 100,000 refugees? There are many questions that need answering, but most of all, if Wales wants to be a sanctuary nation, then surely the politicians should ask her people first. And by not asking them, they are showing their complete disrespect, disdain, and quite frankly, a lack of empathy with their own people. So the Voice of Wales lads, Dan and Stan, came up with this petition. The link is down below, and I'm sure they, as much as I, would love you to share and sign this everywhere you can. After all, some of us do like a democratic process, even if the Welsh politicians don't. So anyway, here's the wording of the petition. Let me know what you think. With recent events in Afghanistan and Mark Drakeford, the First Minister, reminding us all how the Welsh Government want Wales to be a nation of sanctuary, we truly believe that this should be a decision made by the Welsh people. We feel that as it's the people of Wales who will be funding part of this through taxes, we have a right to decide if this is a decision that is right for the Welsh people. Hold a referendum on Wales being a nation of sanctuary. There have been many comments how Wales simply doesn't have the facilities nor financial infrastructure to take in and house people from all over the world. As mentioned, we have our own homelessness, drugs, alcohol and mental health crisis, and on top of that, due to COVID, the economy is crashing. There is a fair argument that whilst we have our own problems at the scale in which we do, we cannot support anymore. For these reasons, we demand a referendum on Wales becoming a nation of sanctuary. This decision should never have been made with no vote from the public. No one was elected on a manifesto or promised to do this. Now, who can argue with that? I think that's quite fair, don't you? I think it's high time that politicians, not just in Wales, but in England and Scotland and Ulster, were reminded that this is a democratic union and that you work for the people, not yourselves. And certainly not for the European Union, no matter how much you'd love to. And there we go, folks. That's my video. Please let me know what you think in the comments. The link to the Voice of Wales channel is down below, along with the referendum petition. Also, if you like this t-shirt, I've sold like literally hundreds already, so it's quite popular. There are many like-minded people who don't want Wales to be a sanctuary nation, let alone independent. And if you want to put the nose of a snooty Welsh nationalist out of joint, then wear this with pride. And the link is down below. Also, if you want to support my channel, because I've been demonetised, yet YouTube and Google still put adverts on my work and they're making money off what I do, and that's not really fair. So I've decided to use the Buy Me a Coffee app, but I call it Buy Me a Beer because it's more manly. Anyway, so if you like what I do, if you're for free speech, if I make you giggle, and if you want to support whatever, then please, it's not monetary, just monetary. It's not mandatory. Buy me a beer, but there we go. Right, that's it. Comment, share, subscribe, and until my next video, I'm Roger Trout.